Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Mel.
Hi.
And Pat.
Kia ora.
And we're going to be talking about the dope test, which is not whatever you think it is. But before we get stuck into that, who's got an affiliate code to share?
We both do, but mine is Jungle Nails.
And mine is Patsitive. If you use either of those codes, we get a kickback from the enrollments, and that's how we support the production of the podcast. So please use them.
So before we get stuck into these personality tests is what we're really doing, let's revisit last week's episode. Mel, what were we chatting about? You were there, eh?
I was there. Last week we were talking about do I need 51,089 jobs to be a nail tech? And the answer is yes, you do.
To be a self-employed one at least.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we were talking about how you might have to be a photographer, you need to do social media. There's like all sorts of things that you have to do over and above just doing the nails, and doing the nails is hard enough. But I guess that's part of the price that you have to pay if you want to be self-employed, if you want to be a boss babe and run your own business. But if you don't want to do any of that, we did talk about other options like just working for someone else, for example. No shame in that.
And then somehow we got onto the topic of just like different personalities and stuff. Not in the episode, but like during the recording process, and thought it would be fun to talk about the DOPE test. So DOPE is DOPE. It's an acronym, not mandated drug testing. But it's an acronym, and it stands for Dove, Owl, Peacock, Eagle. And it's something that we get new students to do in amongst a pre-training survey when they sign up. And finding out which of those personality types they have helps us teach better. And then what we got to talking about was the fact that actually this would apply to clients as well. And that's why we thought it would make a fun podcast episode to talk about the personality types and then, yeah, like how they might apply to clients that we've experienced and stuff like that. Because one thing I always find out is if I'm really struggling communicating with a student and getting on the same vibe and getting them to understand something I'm explaining, if I go back and check the personality type, I can almost always immediately switch up what I'm doing and get through. And it's just because I was stuck in my personality type and not taking into account how they communicate. So I think it will apply to clients and maybe just to life. And why not?
Yeah.
It's going to be super helpful as well if you haven't taken the test yet. If you want to go do it now, you could probably just Google DOPE test, DOPE test, because like Penny said, it's useful to know about in terms of talking to clients. But if you know your type, that's going to make it easier for you to kind of reflect and think about how you're presenting yourself to the world. But also, one of the things that Monaco does really well is that when the new students sign up, we find out what their type is and as well as their learning style. And they get this personalized recommendation around how you might study or what might work for you. So if you know your type, you can figure out ways that will make things easier for yourself. So you should go and do the test. It's free anyway.
And also, if you don't want to Google, you can head to monaco.ac.nz/student-resources, or the student resources page is also in the main menu, and just scroll down, or you can Control F and search DOPE on the page. But if you go down to the pre-training survey, it's all linked in there. So Mel, you were a sneaky sneakerson when you started and you never did the pre-training survey. How we let you climb the ranks, I'll never know.
I don't know either.
So
find it. I do know about it. Obviously, I see what students are and I sort of understand the types, but I don't know what type I am.
So
Ooh, before you start, do you want to guess? Like before
Mm.
you do the test, like guess what you are.
I have a guess. I was thinking about you guys in the shower this morning and trying to guess your types. Mel,
I
do you
don't
know
know.
enough about the personality types to have a guess?
I don't think so.
I don't want
Nah.
to give away the end result. I don't know the best way for listeners to play along, but like I think I want to do the test with Mel and then explain the types
Okay.
rather
Ooh, okay.
but my guess is Dove first, Owl second. And Pat, I have not looked yours up, but my guess is Peacock first and then Eagle second.
Didn't you already like know what my type was? I can't remember actually. I know my first type. I don't remember my second. Should we all retake the test?
I mean, I can if you want, but like the ASD means that I am 85% eagle and 15% owl with no dove and no peacock. So I can retake it if you really want, but it is boring. But as Mel takes it, because I've got it in front of me, so as Mel takes it, we can all talk about what our answers would be.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
So, when you open up the test, sometimes people get a little bit confused because all it is like the weirdest. I don't know. I think it makes sense, but you're just picking like an option. So, like, there's no question. It's like one, restless, harsh, persistent, or dependent, and you're just supposed to pick the word that best describes you. And then sometimes we'll get emails or like questions from students being like, "But where's the question?" I'm like, "There isn't one."
I just looked at that and I was like, huh? What?
The problem is that this page that we use, because it's not ours, we could build this actually. Anyways, it's not ours. We use a free online version that works well, but it means it's covered in ads. And then that makes it kind of hard to see like what to, I don't know. It's an overwhelming page, but it's there. Whatever. Anyways, let's do it. So I'll ask you the questions, Mel, and we'll quick fire it. So the questions, of which there are none. Number one, which word best describes you? Restless, harsh, persistent, or dependent?
I don't know. I'm going to be hopeless at this.
This you can't pull an Aaron on this. This is quick fire decision making.
And there's no way you can be wrong. It's
Yeah.
not like they're testing your IQ.
Yeah.
So
Okay, let's say persistent.
Okay, cool. I think that's what I would choose for myself. Pat, what would you choose for yourself? I know
I'm
what I would choose
literally
for
I'm
you.
literally doing this now as well.
Okay, wait.
I picked restless.
Yes, that is what I would choose for you. I think I would choose persistent for myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone else chose harsh.
Those are the two I was debating between. But then I'm like, I'm not really harsh. I'm just like really like protective, but I'm not harsh. Like I'm not like a "Argh."
I think some people might perceive me as harsh, but what I think it is just unfiltered. Like I don't, that's where the eagle stuff comes in, is like eagles are very focused on the end goal, and sometimes we forget to be like, oh, but like to soften the edges kind of thing. Okay, number two, Mel, are you a risk taker, adventurous, thorough, or patient?
Okay, definitely not patient. Maybe adventurous because I'm not really like, I'm not going to go like bungee jumping.
But that's not the only. You just moved towns. That's a risk. But we're going with adventurous because that was your gut instinct.
Yeah.
And then, Pat, what would yours be? I think you are going to pick either risk taker or adventurous.
I pick adventurous.
I think I would choose thorough. Mel, moralistic, pleasant, powerful, or charismatic?
Definitely not pleasant. Let's go charismatic.
Cool. I would choose charismatic for you first, pleasant for you second.
I picked charismatic as well. Am I just copying what Mel is picking?
Well, maybe you guys
Pretty
are the
similar like personalities though, aren't we?
I don't think so, though. That's the thing is, I think Dove and Owl and Peacock and Eagle, like, I think you guys are top ranked opposite. But then I was also thinking in the shower about how risky it is to name that before we know the answer, because I always have this like little pride on being able to guess people's ones before they do the test. And if I'm wrong, I'm out of touch. Okay, number 4, persistent.
Or we have hidden depths, like there's more to us than meets the eye kind of thing.
Or not with me, just got a surface. Number 4, persistent, influential, logical, or sincere.
I reckon I would probably pick influential because I can get people to do things.
That's true. I would have gone towards persistent for you because I think you're like, you keep going even if you second guess yourself. But I don't disagree that you're not that it's up to me. I'm not saying because I'm just like playing along. Pat, what would you choose?
I went with sincere.
I think I would be persistent. Number 5, interested, motivator, motivated, or willing.
I think motivator, like I'm pretty good at hyping other people up.
Well, didn't you win Monaco Motivator 2024?
Yeah, I'm hopeless at motivating myself, but others, yeah, go hard.
Yeah, you're real good at mama mailing everyone and then being like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, totally.
Pat, what are you?
I went with willing. I'm just like into trying things.
I would have chosen willing for you too.
Ooh.
So maybe I'm not out of touch. And then I would have chosen motivated for myself.
Yeah, I would pick that for you too, yeah.
Optimistic, practical, accurate, or dependable.
I'm going to pick dependable because I will, if you deserve it from me, I'll do anything for you.
And if you don't deserve it, you are dead to you.
I was just going to say those exact words.
Pat, I'm choosing for you optimistic. What are you choosing for yourself?
Yeah, you're right. That's the one.
I think for myself, I would choose optimistic, but I think most people would choose practical. But the reason that I would choose optimistic is not from a perspective of being like happy all the time, but from a perspective of like, I can do whatever I want.
That makes sense. It really does.
Hey guys, Penny from the future here. Are you ready to take your salon to the next level? The Client Magnet is a free 5-day online coaching program by Monaco Nail Academy designed to help you attract and retain clients. With our comprehensive program, you'll learn proven techniques to grow your client base and keep your schedule packed. From expert marketing strategies to client retention secrets, we've got everything you need. Transform your salon and achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Join the Client Magnet today and start making your salon the go-to spot in town. Head to www.monaco.ac.nz/magnet. 7. Uninvolved, undisciplined, unemotional, or unsympathetic.
Ooh. Okay, I think I'll do this one by elimination. So I'm like way too sympathetic.
Agreed.
And probably way too emotional. So one of the first two, I don't know. I'm kind of disciplined though. Like if I set my mind to it, I'll do it, like the gym and stuff like that. But I don't really know what uninvolved means.
You can hover over. It says showing lack of emotional involvement.
I don't know. What would you pick, Penny?
For you?
Yeah.
Well, I agree that by a process of elimination, uninvolved, but I just don't think you're any of these things. But you are in touch with your emotions because you will clearly communicate with us if you're having a good day, if you're struggling, like you clearly know what your emotions are because you're really good at communicating them. You are sympathetic because in work chat, you're the first person to be like, oh my God, that's awful for someone else that's having a bad day. And then discipline, you regularly, like you've tackled the gym stuff, you tackled like moving towns and getting all that stuff done. Like, yeah, so process of elimination, uninvolved. I just think it's the one, none of them in particular though. Pat, which one are you choosing?
A very obviously undisciplined.
Thank goodness you're self-aware. I think mine would be unsympathetic. I struggle sometimes. Like I can be like, that's a shitty situation, but then I struggle to be like I'm like, okay, but what's the solution? Like I'm too logical about stuff. And then that's why often if someone else is having a bad day, then I'll read it and then I'll leave it until like Mel and Erin have like mummified everybody, and then I'll come in and be like, agree.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny. That's so funny because like thinking back to past chats and like the team have gone through shit together and it's like, yeah, it's so true.
I'll click into something and then I'll just click straight back out like the Homer gif going back into the hedge, and I'll mark the chat as unread so that I do come back to it, but I'll come back to it when someone else has said what I'm supposed to say. Number 8, severe, competitive, perfectionist, or compromising. I forgot that you can do the hover thing. So like severe, they're saying unsparing and uncompromising in discipline. And compromising is willing to settle.
Oh, that's probably me.
I don't think so. I mean, I'll click it because that's what you say, but like, I don't think so.
I don't think I'm super competitive though. Oh, sometimes I am.
You're very competitive with yourself.
It's hard to choose just one.
Yeah, sometimes it is for sure.
Okay, let's go competitive because yeah, I like to win.
The hover on competitive says measuring oneself against others, and the hover over perfectionist says displeased by not meeting high standards. I just don't think that you're compromising because I've never seen you settle for anything. If anything, you just get pissed off when you have to settle for something.
Yeah. Okay, I'm probably perfectionist because I do get annoyed when I'm not as good as I want to be.
Okay, cool. You just want to be all of the things. Pat, what are you?
This one, I'm like most of them, I was like, yep, 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 like really easy to figure out. This one, I'm not sure between compromising and perfectionist because I am the kind of person who's like really people pleaser and just like, as long as you're happy, but also like perfectionist because I'm really hard on myself, but also it's like one of those things I hate about me because I'm a perfectionist. My anxiety goes up and then I won't do anything and then I'm like crippled by it. So they're both not great, but both accurate.
The test never promised to make you see all the good things about yourself.
It's so rude. Like, how dare you confront parts of me I don't like? I'm gonna go with perfectionist and just like be aware of it and be yeah.
I think out of all of these, like I'm the opposite where Mel wants to be everything, and I think I'm nothing but like potentially severe would be what I think is. I think other people, I'm trying to think like what like my best friend and stuff would choose. And she would choose severe out of all of that because I'm definitely not compromising, definitely not a perfectionist, and definitely not competitive. Like I literally,
I think severe definitely makes sense for you. Like severe sounds like a really harsh word, but the definition that they have unsparing and uncompromising and disciplined. Like you're very good about like I'm gonna be up at 4 a.m. and then I'm gonna work this much and blah 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 blah. And you've got like all these systems in place to keep going. And I think that makes sense for you.
like competitive, I literally created the competition free zone because I don't like thinking about competitors. And like perfectionist, Destiny's now quoting done is better than perfect because I've spent the last few weeks getting the accelerator students to just do stuff and not wait for it to be perfect. And then compromising is just not even a contender for my brain. Okay, number 9, myopic, which means lacking foresight or scope, predictable, demanding, or interrupts. It's another hard one. I have a guess for you, Mel, but it is a hard one.
I feel like I'm probably demanding. What does demanding say?
Requiring more than usually expected or thought due.
Maybe not. I don't usually expect more than I think I deserve.
You definitely don't interrupt, and you definitely don't lack foresight. If anything, you have too much because you stress about what's about to happen at all times.
And what's predictable?
Capable of being foretold. Like we can guess what I feel like you're predictable because I think knowing you, I have a rough idea of how you would cope with any situation, which would be making you predictable, right?
I think you're just good at being able to predict others. Like, I think that's just something you're good at.
That is not one of the options, Pat.
Yeah, Pat's
I
just
don't
trying
think
to
that
get
makes
one.
Mel predictable. I think you're just good at predicting people.
Well, which one would you choose for Mel?
Um, I think it should be whatever she thinks she should pick, which
I don't
is a bit of a
know.
cop out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a cop out because we're just playing the game.
Yeah, and I don't really know. Like, I don't think predictable. Like, nobody ever thought I would sell my past business and move towns and up my whole life and move.
Are you lacking foresight or requiring more than usually expected or interfering in other people's activity? Because those are your other three options.
Nah, I reckon predictable, yeah.
Pat, what one did you choose for yourself?
I picked demanding. It's one of the things that, um, like, I'm always expecting more of myself and other people, and it is a point of friction when people don't want to step up to the plate because I'm like, that's not good enough.
That's
So,
probably
yeah.
why you and I work well together though, because that's definitely me as well. But when you and I work sitting side by side, we get twice as much done than we ever get done separately because we push each other.
Which is so fun, and I do
Yeah,
love
like
doing
you'll be like, "Have you done this?" I'll be like, "No," and you're like standing over me, like, "Okay, can you bring it up now?" And then
it.
and then I'll do the same to you, and it just like it works.
Which we love.
Yeah. Okay. Number 10. Impulsive. Well, we know Pat's answer. Impulsive reacting, minimize risk, or risk averse. What's the difference between those last two? Okay. Minimize risk is to lessen the occurrence and impact of risk, and risk averse is preferring choices with lower risk.
Okay, so like minimize risk, you're trying to change the situation so it's less risky. And then the other one,
Minimize, you're trying to reduce it. Risk averse, you're
yeah,
just trying to avoid it altogether.
okay. So one is more active than the other.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
reacting is just responding to events after the fact. So, which I think that's probably me, just YOLOing stuff and being like, I'll work it out later.
Obviously, mine is impulsive. Like that's basically
That's,
my middle name.
yeah, it's edging close to your first name, to be honest. Mel, which
I
one are
don't know.
you?
I think I'm one of the last two. Like, I definitely try and avoid like risky stuff.
I feel like maybe I would think that you're more minimized than risk averse because you do take risks, you just stress about them first.
Mm. So is that minimize?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think you minimize risk because you think about things and you try and work the situation so that it's not as crazy. Like, you'll move towns, but you'll put things in place so that it's safe to move towns. You're not just going to be like, YOLO, I'm moving towns. But also,
Yeah.
you're not like, I'm not going to move towns because that's so scary, So you do the thing, but put things in place first.
Whereas Pat would like message us in the morning and be like, after that conversation, I decided I'm moving countries.
It's
All
a shock I haven't done that yet.
Honestly. Okay, 11. Tough, serious, awkward, or excitable.
right. I know what pet's one will be.
What's yours, Mel?
Not that one.
So we've got tough, not given to gentleness or sentimentality, which you're super sentimental, so not that one. I would have described you as tough. I just wouldn't go with the definition they've given. Serious means of great consequence, which doesn't help me at all. Awkward means not elegant or graceful in expression. And then excitable means pat.
Maybe I am awkward because I'm not really like graceful in the way I express things.
I think of those options, I would say awkward for you, but only in the way that you embrace not having to be elegant or graceful and just being yourself. Like the way that you will post a mop on social media is not elegant or graceful, but it's like one of the things we love about you. So I would choose awkward, but not in a bad way.
Not like we think like, oh, she's so quiet and weird.
Yeah.
And Pat's excitable.
Yeah, Pat, are you gonna
Obviously. Yeah, obviously. Nah, I picked another one. Jokes.
I picked serious for
I
Pat.
think I would be tough given the definitions they gave, or awkward, but Probably.
I like how all three of us are like, maybe awkward. Because
Mhm.
awkward was the other thing I was thinking about, except obviously excitable is the one.
Well, awkward is also the middle name of our marketing avatar, so it makes sense that
Mm,
like
mm.
that's kind of all of these characteristics. I'm like not elegant or graceful in expression. Well, we kind of do prefer to take all of the like all the weirdos of the world and chuck them in the world of beauty and elegance. Number 12, compassionate, driven, curious, or passionate.
Yeah, I reckon compassionate. That's me.
What about you, Pat?
Um, I got distracted and scrolled. Hang on. I picked passionate. This is random, but is this like, you know how there are four columns and there are four letters for dope?
Yeah.
Is it like the columns relate to the letter
No,
or
the columns don't
no?
relate. It is one word per personality type, but they're jumbled.
Okay, that's good. But I was like, most of mine are in the fourth column. So I was like, is that a thing? Like, I don't know. I'm glad that they've mixed it up. That's good.
Withdrawn, shy, bossy, or talkative.
Probably talkative. I'm not withdrawn. I'm not shy. I can be bossy though. What does bossy say?
It says exercising usually unwarranted power.
Oh, okay, no, that's not me.
Shy says lacking self-confidence, and withdrawn says tending to reserve or introspection.
Yeah, that's not me. What's the definition for talkative?
Full of trivial
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say maybe shy because I do, but I mean, my confidence like comes and goes. Like sometimes I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm the best, and then other times I'm like, I'm the worst ever.
You have a lot of confidence for other people. Of all, like, process of elimination, I would have to be bossy, but also, I think I talked about this, like, in the last few episodes, that my mum always says I'm bossy. But then, like, one time she was standing in Monaco, and then I asked Alicia to do something, and mum was like, oh, she's so bossy, isn't she? And I was like, Mum, I'm her boss.
Mhm.
It's my job. But then also this says usually unwarranted power. And I think I have an interesting relationship with the word bossy because mum's called me bossy my whole life and usually in a negative connotation. But the thing is, I get shit done. I'm just
I really, really hate the word bossy because it tends to be like a label that you ascribe to girls and women, but you don't normally say a man is bossy. You're just like, he's a boss
assertive.
or he's assertive, but women are bossy. And it's like, no, just because we are saying things and we're assertive as well doesn't make us bossy. And, you're not exercising unwarranted power, Penny. Like, it's warranted. You are the boss. Slash, you just get things done. I don't think it's unwarranted.
Yeah, but I think of process of elimination, that would still be me. That's the closest to me. Anyways, number 14, doormat, reclusive, forward, or braggart. So doormat is a person who is physically weak and ineffectual. That is not you, Mel. Reclusive, withdrawn from society and seeking solitude. That's me. Forward, lacking restraint or modesty. That's Pat.
Yeah.
And then braggart, a very boastful and talkative person. That's
Okay.
all of us after a beer.
Yeah, I think that's
Why are mine so easy to guess? Like, if anyone who knows me can take this test and be like, yeah, Pat would pick that one.
Anyone who has listened to 7 minutes of this podcast can pick all of yours. Which one are you though, Mel?
I reckon maybe that last one, boastful or either that or forward.
Yeah, this is a hard line for you.
Yeah, because sometimes I do like just want to be on my own, like no world.
Well, you do have 700 kids, so
Yeah.
I think process of elimination, I'd go the last one for you.
Ooh, the next one looks interesting.
Hey guys, Future Penny here again. Just a super quick interruption to let you know that if you head to monaco.ac.nz/subscribe, not only can you sign up to our weekly newsletter, but you'll also get a free video lesson from our course, The Art of Pigments. That's monaco.ac.nz/subscribe. Alrighty. Hot-headed, vengeful, rash, or fearful. So hot-headed is quickly aroused to anger. Vengeful is disposed to seek revenge or intended for revenge. Rash is marked by defiant disregard for consequences. And fearful is lacking courage, ignobly timid, and faint-hearted. Well, I'm rash.
What's ignoble?
No idea.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not vengeful. Like, if you do me wrong, I'm not going to be like, I'm coming after you. You'll just disappear from my life completely. Rash. What was rash again?
Defiant disregard for
Oh,
consequences.
okay, that's not me.
I don't think that's me overall, but I just think after of all these four options, I'm like a 50% rash person, and I'm like a 10% hot-headed, and then I'm not vengeful or fearful.
I think I'll have to go hot-headed.
What
Like,
if
I don't usually get angry, but if you deserve the anger, it'll be on you in like 2.5 seconds.
I feel like you're a 0 to 100 person like me, like chill, 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 murdering.
Yeah, and only if you deserve it. Like, I'm not just walking around like angry all the time.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Out of all those, I think that one most applies to me.
What about you, Pat?
I went with rash. Like I can be a hothead on the road, and like I fantasize about revenge, but I wouldn't actually do any revenging or whatever. So I think, and it's not, I don't think I'm fearful. Although I looked up ignoble, and apparently it means not honorable in character or purpose, which is like
Well, we don't
not,
have any of those people in Team Monaco.
it's like that's so weird. Yes, I'm gonna go with rash.
And then we've got consistent, achieving, meticulous, and seeking.
I'm gonna make my husband do this test. He's not gonna want to do it, but I'm gonna make him do it.
It's so fun to do with a partner, honestly.
What's the consistent one?
Consistent is constantly adhering to the same principles, course, or form. I think you're the second one, Mel.
I was gonna say consistent, but not with that definition. So yeah, I reckon achieving, because I always do try and do better.
Well, I think you'd have a lot more confidence if you were happy with exactly who you were, right? Like, I think I'm seeking.
Me too. I picked that one.
And then we've got enthusiastic, assertive, idealistic, and charitable.
Aggressively self-assured.
Yeah, assertive is aggressively self-assured. Idealistic is of high moral or intellectual value. Charitable is full of love and generosity. That one's you, Mel. And then enthusiastic is having or showing great excitement and interest.
Yeah, I think charitable.
We know my one.
I think mine would have to be assertive. Then we've got peaceful, independent, conventional, and social. I don't think any of us are conventional, following accepted customs and proprieties. It's not really our jam.
What's independent?
Free from external controlling constraint. Peaceful is not disturbed by strife or turmoil or war. And social is marked by friendly companionship with others.
Probably social, I reckon. What do you, Pat?
I went with that for myself also. I thought it made the most sense.
I think mine would be independent.
Yeah, I kind of first thought independent. I mean, even though I've been married for a long time, like I still, I don't know.
I'm definitely not an independent person.
Yeah, like I guess I do depend on my husband like financially and stuff like that, but I still have like my own life apart from him as well. So I don't know.
I know you, Mel, and your husband a little bit but more separately, not as
Yeah.
together. So but I think from what I know of you that I would say you guys are that sort of like independent together kind of couple. Like it's more like celebrating each other than relying on each other.
Yeah, but I think social applies more to me.
Yeah, you're definitely social. Elaborate, strong-willed, respectful, or cheerful. So elaborate is complexity and richness of detail. Strong-willed is having a powerful will and being resolute. Respectful is thinking highly of others, and cheerful is having or showing good spirits
Probably respectful because I think pretty highly of mostly everyone in my life.
until they're dead to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about you, Pat?
Cheerful, 100%.
And then lastly, we have goal-oriented, procedural, selfless, and people-focused. So goal-oriented is focused toward a defined end or event. Procedural is adheres to processes or concrete steps. Selfless is unselfish concern for the welfare of others. And people-focused is tending toward interacting with others.
Oh, I don't know here. Definitely not number 2.
Nah.
And I don't know. Either 1 or 3, I reckon.
Yeah, I would say that for you too, 1 or 3, goal-oriented or selfless. I think maybe you're slightly more goal-oriented than selfless because you're very concerned for the welfare of others, but you wouldn't do it at risk to like your family kind of thing.
Okay.
Like if I had to pick a reason to sway it one way or the other. I don't know. Pat, what do you reckon?
I feel like you're quite either selfless or people focused, is how you come across to me.
People focused is tending toward interacting with others versus goal oriented, focused towards a defined end or event. You could go either way,
Hmm.
but you leaned towards goal.
I reckon probably goal because you're right. Like if it came down to if it was going to benefit my family or someone else, I would definitely pick my family.
Yeah. Alrighty, drum roll.
What did you guess, Penny?
Not this. I
Ah.
guessed duck.
Ooh.
And you are a peacock, which isn't that the same as you, Pat?
It is the same as me. I am a peacock 65%.
Okay,
How
so
you?
we will dive into this more, but the like brief little thing is you love talking, being the center of attention, have a wealth of passion, are highly enthusiastic, and are generally optimistic. Other than center of attention, I would say that's you, Mel. That's definitely Pat.
Yeah.
It says you are the excitement seeker and have high assertiveness and high emotionality, which I think is true. And then you were second, you were a dove. Okay, you were 40% peacock and 35% dove. So I feel slightly vindicated that I thought that you were a dove. And then you're 15% owl and 10% eagle, which how on earth we are friends, I don't know, because I'm the exact opposite.
Mm. Is it common for like someone to have some of everything, or is it more common to be like just 2 things? Or
No, it's definitely, I'm the only one I've ever seen that had a 0%.
okay.
You had a 0%. What was the 0?
Dove.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, 0. And I've done it before. I think it was like 5% peacock or something. It was like basically all eagle, a little bit of owl, absolutely no dove.
I
Yeah.
mean, that tracks. Yeah, it makes sense for your personality. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, now let's like see what all the different personalities mean.
Oh, mine first. I'm gonna share. I
Yeah.
got peacock 65% and then super low on the rest. I have eagle second, 20%. Was that your guess, Penny?
Yes, peacock and then eagle.
Yeah, so you're right. You do know me very well. And then it's dove 10% and then owl 5%.
Fun. Well, so what's really interesting for me is how the personalities work with others. So we'll start with peacock because you guys are peacocks. But like basically, so yes, the test gives you this like little definition, but we've done like extensive research into these things and like built these up over a really long period of time. So peacocks are outgoing, talkative, and energetic. They get bored with shy, quiet, or calm pairs. They are commonly the type of person that likes to have a long conversation. They're not always great listeners and often have extensive talks about personal or humorous stories. Well, you guys are on a podcast. To try and develop a relationship with them, be warm and approachable. So like when we take this and apply it to students, because my notes are the notes that we use to like help teach, Peacocks are competitive. So as mentors, we can try and use that to our advantage, which I do regularly with Pat, making her compete against herself to get her work done. Peacocks can be dominating, but they avoid communication that will make them feel dominated or like their ideas are being ignored. So when we're mentoring, then we can take that into how we're communicating with a peacock student. Peacocks can be scattered, inattentive, and impatient. They can easily change their mind. They have great enthusiasm on something, but not very committed in executing. As mentors, we can help them by helping them control their talking and managing their time, and praising them loudly and using them as examples to others, because peacocks love to have that validation of being the center of attention. We can give them chances to express their ideas, their experiences, and other things, and we do it in a way that helps everybody. But it's like you wouldn't choose a dove to do this task. So it's not about manipulating the peacock. It's about taking a group of people and choosing who's best to run the room in a specific way.
Interesting. So, what are our other mentors like Erin?
Erin is 1000% a dove.
Yeah. So the doves are nice and quiet and just nice. So doves. So I reckon Erin's a dove, I think.
100%.
Our other team, yeah. So it says doves are peace-loving, kind, and highly emotional. Be warm and use a friendly tone. That right there just sums up Erin. So we can give them understanding, patience, and attention, and be sensitive of their feelings. They're introverted, super passive with communication, so try to read between the lines and recognize body language rather than getting them to speak their feelings. When you do communicate with them, try one-on-one or face-to-face, quiet and private. Never criticize them in front of people. Doves won't tell you negatives or complain. You need to look for and preempt them. Doves avoid risks, tending to follow other people's leads. They also worry more, so reassure them. Doves also worry about others, so reassure them, their buddy/model, that they're fine and understand that they are learning. They desperately want to please you. Doves will do anything to avoid confrontation, which includes you telling them they did something wrong. Tell them what they did well and how to fix the rest. They need affirmations, so give them constant praise. Wow, it's so interesting.
And it's really interesting being, so on our mentoring cheat sheets, we have these things that tell us how to work with each personality type. So I have found it really difficult. I've had to learn as a boss to work with dove mentors over time. And one of our past mentors really actually helped me learn this, because she was very, very dove. And if she messed something up, she would want to have a whole conversation about how sorry she was and stuff. And me as an eagle, I'd be like, I don't care. I just want you to fix it. I don't need to have this half-hour conversation apology. I just don't do it again. I don't care. And then she one time was like, no, I need to have this conversation. And I was like, oh, okay. So the cheat sheet for an eagle, me working with a dove, says, while their strengths can complement each other well, the dove will probably find the eagle both hasty and abrasive at times, which is so true. The eagle will most likely wish the dove would be less sensitive to constructive feedback and more willing to take risks in order to improve productivity. True. Doves and eagles are good for each other as long as doves don't get too intimidated. Doves can encourage eagles to be more sensitive to the needs of others, and eagles can encourage doves to be more assertive and decisive.
That is so funny. That's literally how you and Erin are together. It's so funny.
Right? But
I was also thinking that the dove thing, it's so handy for us to know this about clients, which is what we mentioned earlier. Because if you have a client who's a dove and they're not going to pick anything and they're going to be super wishy-washy, you have to be alert and pay attention to, are they actually happy or are they just trying to spare your feelings? So yeah, it's probably really good to be aware of these
well,
things.
what
But
about
it's so
you
funny.
guys
Yeah.
being peacocks with a dove? What would you have to adjust?
So it says here, peacock working with a dove. Peacocks and doves share a knack for quickly getting along with others. However, the peacock's outsized optimism can lead to risk-taking on a scale that doves often find to be reckless. Meanwhile, the dove's deliberate nature can come across as needlessly ponderous to a peacock. I think that's so I guess that means maybe take it back a notch a little bit or try and be more considerate about. So if I'm working with a Dove client, I wouldn't go in there immediately with like, let's do XXL acrylics with all the bling, because that would probably freak them out. Unless that was exactly like if they literally told me that that's what they wanted, then cool. But if that's not what they said, then maybe it'll be more like, what are you after today? And then try and gently take them on a journey and get them out of their comfort zone, not trying to like take them from 0 to 100.
I just looked it up, and Becca is a dove. I would have thought she was an owl for sure, because owls are really detail oriented. I'm just going to find the breakdown, but like owls are super logical and intelligent. Owls are very passive with communication and are often introverted and cautious. That's not Becca, but they will communicate best in writing, knowing everything is documented. That's Anthea. Owls are extremely detail oriented, never take shortcuts with them. Accuracy is important to them, so be specific with whatever you're trying to teach them or get them to do. Don't bother with feelings, just facts, and be prepared to back them up. Be systematic, thorough, and precise, and repeat yourself if necessary. I would have said that Becca was more owl oriented, but her result was dove when she did it when she enrolled back in the olden days.
I wonder if it would change now. I was thinking that before. Like, I wonder if I had taken it as a student, what the result would have been.
I definitely, the first time I ever took this was less eagle, but I think that that was partially just me getting like comfortable in like who I was and not trying to be what I thought other people wanted me to be. And then I just became more and more eagle.
Mm.
Like, who do you guys know that are owls?
Okay, so owls are perfectionists. They want to get everything perfect. That's Anthea.
Yes.
This is like every time we read it, it's like, oh, that's Anthea. Um, owls are super organized. Numbered lists or steps will help. This also means they're methodical and won't move on until the previous step is 100%. You should also be detailed. So you should also be detailed and organized. That's funny because like I'm like 65% peacock, but definitely for me, I'm all about like the steps. Like literally people will be like, oh, have you got your checklist? um
Like, but you had owl further down your list, right? So you can still have
exactly.
pieces of owl.
True.
Like I think with when you're teaching an owl, it's really important to back everything up with the why. Like when we're mentoring, an owl will immediately be like skeptical unless we can validate ourselves. And I think that rolls into clients quite a lot because I reckon most of us can think of a client where you really need to justify, or they not always need to justify, but they want to know, like, but why does the lamp do that? But why does, or how does this work? Like, whereas other people are like, I don't care, just I want pretty nails. And like, so an owl is pretty easy to pick out, but then those are the people that are going to really want you to stick to the schedule. Like, they're not going to cope well if you're running overtime. Like, that'll have a bigger impact on their impression of you. Like, that kind of thing. Like, it definitely does apply.
You know who's definitely an owl and has been on the podcast before? Leonie.
Oh,
Leonie
yes.
is 100% an owl. She's number one, the person who's going to be talking to us about like the why, the why, the why. And she takes time to evaluate decisions. She is happily going to work alone, but also like, but she's also social. So maybe she has Dove in her. Yeah, it's definitely Leonie. If you're like, who's Leonie? Go listen to one of our other I think we have at least 2 episodes where Leonie's in there. But
Yeah.
the one where we were developing our client avatars, you should go check that out. Leonie's in there. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just read through it. That's so good. Peacock working with an owl. So it said owls can help peacocks get more organized and keep focused. And can I just say, hashtag competition free zone. I've literally had Leonie in my house helping me organize my salon room. This was like back in the day because she knew I was struggling and I was stressed. And then she just was like, "You want me to come over? I'm coming over." And then I was perfectly happy for her to sit there and just watch me like move things around. But no, she like took charge and helped me get things exactly right. And I think that's, her rigorous attention to detail really helped. And it was fun for me because it was with another person. So that was really cool. And then at the same time, I was helping her brainstorm things about social media. And that's apparently, um, you know, it says here that under stress, the owl will likely find the peacock's brainstorming nature to be unrealistic. But at the time, Leonie wasn't stressed or anything. So if anything, she just found it like refreshing and it was part of her taking into consideration things for her to do in the future. So I think that does apply. So that's quite cool.
I can see the owl. I can see how this relates to Anthea. Just with like the study and things like that, she's really, really good at
Well, she's leading
organizing
the
us.
study group for Accelerator.
Yeah, and she's very good at like getting people organized and getting stuff done and brainstorming together. And yeah, she loves it. It's not like stressful for her. It's like what she does. Yeah.
What I think is really funny is when you read Eagle, me, working with an owl, Anthea, like how you guys laughed at the eagle with a dove being me and Erin. Listen to this. Eagles and owls will find common ground in being task-oriented but can be at odds with temperament. The eagle's fast-paced and direct style contrasts sharply with the owl's even-paced and reserved nature. Under a tight deadline, the eagle will likely lament how slow the owl is in delivering completed projects. Owls often find eagles too quick with decisions that lead to mistakes and wasted time redoing what could have been done right the first time with better planning. That's literally just me and Anthea.
Crazy how like accurate it is. Like I
Right?
haven't really looked too depth into it. And yeah, it's crazy.
We used to have them up on the wall when we had a set classroom for in-person lessons, and now everyone teaches from their own salons, but we used to have this up on the wall, and it was so handy. If I was getting really frustrated with a student that I couldn't get through to, I'd be like, "Wait, what was your personality type?" And I'd just come and quickly read my cheat for them, and then I'd be like, "Done. Easy, I can do this."
This is so funny. It's really good. Things to think about when you're working with clients, not just students.
What's the eagle? Because you're an eagle, right?
Very,
What's the
yes.
eagle working with peacocks? Like me and
Oh, so eagle, me working with peacock. Eagle working with a peacock. While an eagle and a peacock are both outgoing and energetic, the peacock's more casual nature may strike the eagle as not serious enough to command his or her complete trust. The eagle's hyperfocus on achieving one goal after the next can drain the peacock's vitality if celebrating success is not a priority. I reckon the first half of that is me and Pat, and the second half of that is me and Mel.
I feel like the others have way more detail. Why are there only 2 sentences?
Oh, look at that one. Peacock with a peacock.
Yeah, what
So
about you
I'm
guys?
gonna the pot calling the kettle black. Peacocks working together will often get distracted by socializing, and it's almost impossible to keep them on task. So the first person who I think me and this person relate to is Hannah. Is Hannah a peacock? She has to be.
Surely.
Surely.
She could be peacock first, eagle second. She's pretty like onto it with detail, but she's not a dove. Penny from the future popping in just quickly to remind you that if you want more bookings in Salon, you can join our free marketing workshop, The Client Magnet, at monaco.ac.nz/magnet. What? She's a dove.
Oh, What? No.
At the front door.
Make her sit the test again. Maybe she
Yeah.
was lying. She wasn't aware of herself.
Okay, you guys surely can guess Bailey.
Um,
I can't remember all the characteristics. I'm hopeless at this.
Think about Summit.
That was like my
is
first time meeting Bailey, and then when I left, I was like, I love Bailey.
is Bailey like Eagle Owl?
Well,
Uh,
I can only see each person's top one because that's all we save. But yeah, she's an eagle.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, like she definitely comes across as an eagle. And if you're like, okay, you haven't talked about eagles yet, then here you go. Eagles are bold and decisive. They're brave, confident in talking, and tend to control conversation. Eagles are motivated by rules that keep them busy and challenged. They need order, rules, and structure. And once they know the rules, eagles are independent, let them be. They need freedom and less supervision, don't order them around. And that's exactly how Bailey was at Summit. She just, she got given like a role and then she was like rolling with it and getting shit done. And it was great. And if
it's
you're
so
like, I don't
true.
remember hearing Bailey's voice ever, then you go back to like season 1 of the
Two.
podcast and you will find an episode with Bailey in it.
She's been
I
on
think
the
it's,
podcast
yeah.
with us.
Oh, has she? Oh, yes, she has. Never mind. Scratch that. Bailey was on recently.
Get to know our newest team member, Bailey, is our most listened to podcast episode ever.
I have
No.
re-listened to that a couple times actually myself. Yeah. I don't know why.
Okay, so in the interest of not running so far over time that everyone turns off before we finish this episode, what I want to do like a quick fire chat about clients, like how this relates to clients, because of course we can talk all day about how it relates to how we work together and how it relates to our students. But knowing what you know now, can you guys think of a client that has been a different personality type to you, and how would you change the way you worked with them?
Yeah, I can. It's like peacocks and dove. Are they like on the opposite end of the things, or is there no sort of like ranking?
In my eagle brain, I think peacocks and doves are like in the same category, but I can see why they're not. It's just that like peacocks are more like flighty, frivolous, like energetic, like task switching, and then doves are more emotional, empathetic, sympathetic, take their time. But to my eagle brain, eagle and owl are like get shit done, and peacock and dove are feel things.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I can think of a couple of clients that were probably doves, and we spent so much time just like talking, sometimes literally crying together about stuff. Like, yeah.
Is there anything you would change about how you interacted with them based on acknowledging like their type? Because this says peacocks and doves share a knack for quickly getting along with others. However, the peacock's outsized optimism can lead to risk taking on a scale that doves find to be reckless. Meanwhile, the dove's deliberate nature can come across as needlessly ponderous to a peacock.
Mm. Hmm. It's so interesting. I'm definitely going to do like a dive for this. But yeah, maybe just trying to help them get to that decision or guiding them a bit more. Yeah, giving them a bit of direction, I suppose, but without putting like pressure on them.
I just read this bit that's so funny because you guys will immediately know why this is making me laugh. Doves can't make decisions. Guide them through decision making and allow them to consider all options. They need direction, instructions, and guidance. Give comprehensive instructions, and if they need guidance or correcting, do so with step-by-step instructions. Be logical and systematic. Like, who is that?
Erin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the worst decision maker on the entire planet, which does not bode well for where it says appreciate and praise them sincerely because this is what motivates them. Sorry,
Yeah.
Erin, eagling out, but
We do love Erin.
Erin's
We
the
love
best.
her.
We all do, like praise her and appreciate her and try and motivate her, I guess, without knowing it, but we just do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
if you download the app Finch, which is a self-care gamified app, you can actually motivate and cheer on Erin every day by sending her Finch bird encouragement and motivation and all sorts. So
Hashtag
we do
not
that
a
back to each
sponsor.
other.
That sounded like such a product placement. Like, speaking of that, if you download this app,
Except it wasn't. This is like Mel with Henry, except it's me and Anthea with Finch. Um, I was like quickly looking through this, and obviously we're not going to be able to force our clients to sit the dope test because that would be really random. But hey, maybe with their other hand, while you're not working on that, they can scroll through. But if you have a good enough understanding of the different birds, that can help you get a feel for what kind of bird your client might be. And also, most people are a mix of the birds anyway. So if you try and appeal to aspects of people's personalities, that might help you. But for example, if you get a feeling that your client's a bit of an eagle, that means, they're bold and decisive, they want to get shit done. That might mean that there's someone that would really value just not necessarily you being perfectionist about it, but just getting things done so they can quickly move on to the next thing on their list. On the other hand, if someone's there a peacock, they might want it to be like extra flashy and showy. So that might mean that you encourage them to pick one of the designs that you really, really want to work on. It might be that if you're working with an owl, and I have a client who I'm pretty sure is an owl, you really talk through like the steps that you take, why you're doing this, because that helps build their confidence in you. And if it's a dove, then I guess for me as a peacock, try not to be too overwhelming. Yeah, and I guess help them on the journey and being a team together. We are a we.
and help
Yeah.
them choose colors, because now I'm thinking of all the clients I have that take like 75% of their appointment to choose their color. And I'm like, wait, are you a dove?
Yeah. So we need to apparently give them comprehensive instructions for color picking. I'm not sure how we do that, but hey.
Well,
limit.
because I've got all my colors organized, like I've got so many polishes that they're all swatched into color category. So if someone can't make up their mind, then I'll often be like, okay, cool. So you've got three sets out. You've got the red, the blue, and the purple. If you had to eliminate one of those sets of colors right now, which would it be? And then they'll eliminate one. Or like back in the day when it was not out that way, if someone was taking ages and I knew I could be kind of playful with them, I'd be like, all right, in 5 seconds, I'm removing one of these wheels and you're not going to know which one. And I'd literally count down and then just take one away. And then I'd obviously only do it with people where I knew I could be silly with them, but it always worked. They always then just pick something.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's kind of like, like for example, with apparently if you're going on a date with someone, instead of being like, where do you want to go? If you try and help people do a process of elimination instead, it makes it easier for both of you to decide what to do. So that makes sense to me. It might even be like, okay, if you don't pick one, it's going to be this color, and then it's just like a standard like nudie pink, and
No,
then
it's
they'll be
neon
like,
green.
oh. Or or neon. Okay, you get the nudie pink, the neon green, or you actually pick the color you want. I'm gonna roll a die.
But then it says doves don't like pressure, so that might be too far the other
Okay,
way.
so maybe not.
All right, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I just think it's super interesting.
It's
And for
so
someone who has never done the test before, now I'm like, like I'm thinking about all the people in my life and what they are. And
fun. Welcome to the week where Mel psychoanalyzes all her friends.
yeah, if you see me staring at you, that's what I'm doing.
I just think it's super cool, and I hope people take the test and try it out with their clients.
Monaco.ac.nz/student-resources, and the links on there. That's not a promotion, it's literally just a page of links. But with that done and dusted, before you disappear to do the test, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We will be back next week. Pat, what are we doing next week?
We are prepping for Christmas. So you're probably in the middle of getting prepped for the silly season, so you should wait and see for all the beautiful tips and stories we're going to share with you next week.
Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ.
Mine is Jungle Nails NZ.
Mine is Patsative Beauty.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.